I want to thank the members of the Taxes Committee, both DFLers and Republican members alike, for their help in putting this tax bill together. It has features that are brought by members of both parties, both caucuses, on behalf of their constituents, and that's the way in which this committee has operated for years. It's no secret that Minnesotans, our families, our communities, and our healthcare system are all hurting. It's also no secret that the pain has been accelerated by federal actions and legislation that have targeted our state and many of the things that Minnesotans, excuse me, rely upon. The big Republican budget bill that we've had to deal with that was passed last summer is hurting our state. It pays for huge tax cuts for the wealthiest Minnesotans, wealthiest Americans, by cutting health care and food support that Minnesota families rely upon. Federal tax policies and the president's war with Iran are raising costs for Minnesotans at both the grocery store and at the gas pump. And the ripple effect of those federal decisions are devastating our families, our communities, our farmers, and our businesses. There is no way our state government alone can backfill all of that, but through this tax bill, and other measures like the Health and Human Services bill that the Senate passed yesterday, we are responding to the immediate needs of Minnesotans. So what does the tax bill do? The four of us are here this morning to give you some insights into the effects and the impact of the tax bill. It makes life more affordable. We talk a lot about affordability. This tax bill delivers by providing a 12% property tax refund increase for this year. It's more than $100 million in direct property tax relief for Minnesotans through that one-time increase in property tax refunds for homeowners. And Senator Hauschild is going to discuss that in a few moments. Secondly, it responds to the damage caused by Operation Metro Surge with a $2 million provision to ensure our communities and our taxpayers don't bear the costs of that recent action alone. Our bill also includes the provisions for the sustainable aviation fuel by establishing a credit and expands that support for development of clean alternative fuel to jet fuel using Minnesota-grown resources. Senator Dibble is going to comment on both of those measures, and it responds to the needs of agriculture, which is an essential part of our state's economy. Senator Putnam will be talking about that. But first, I want to talk about HCMC. For the last 20 years, there has been a local sales tax to aid in constructing Target Field. That tax is coming to an end, and this building, this structure that is owned by the county, we're going to install a new tax to replace that one. And it is a health care tax, and the rate is going to be a quarter cent, 0.25. We're looking to help stabilize hospitals throughout throughout Minnesota. But this bill is focused mostly on the healthcare hospitals in Hennepin County, notably HCMC, a level 1 trauma center for pediatric care, and North Memorial, which is a level 1 trauma center for adult health care. We are going to provide for Hennepin County in particular maximum flexibility for how they can use the dollars. The dollars going to North Memorial in this proposal must be used for the cost of uncompensated care. Some people would call it charity care. Anybody who walks into those hospitals must be served, and they are served, and they're served enthusiastically and by some of the finest doctors that in our country, quite frankly. And but it's important to note that the county also needs to be able to plan for facilities, the upkeep of facilities, and this bill, as opposed to the bill we passed yesterday, has gives to the county the opportunity for using the dollars that come to them for keeping up the facilities, the actual buildings in which the health care is delivered. And then secondly, there's a new tax that's not new to the Senate, actually. We passed a social media tax last year that, but this tax only affects the 14 largest social media platforms in the world that do business here in Minnesota. Only affects those social media platforms and their billionaire owners. We all know that huge social media companies have made billions of dollars, almost incalculable, from selling the consumer data they are now collecting from Minnesotans at no charge, for free. This tax will generate millions in needed revenue for our state, and importantly, not one single Minnesotan will pay a penny of it, not 1 cent. The social media tax will raise millions of dollars for our state going forward and leave Minnesotans untouched. The tax will also help modernize Minnesota's tax code as we are beginning the second quarter of the 21st century and realizing and recognizing, celebrating a dawning age, a new age of technology, and we will remain in control of it, but the use of our data is not going to be free. So thank you very much, and I'm going to ask now the other members of the committee who are here with me to for comments, and we'll start with Senator Hauschild.
Well, thank you so much, Chair Rest, for this tax omnibus bill. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Grant Hauschild, and I serve as the Vice Chair of the Senate Tax Committee. And Chair Rest is exactly right. What we have faced here in Minnesota is a direct result of this federal administration forcing cruel cuts down upon us at the federal level, specifically from the big, beautiful bill, which I have always said is the biggest oxymoron I've ever heard in legislative history. And what this bill does is it targets specifically the most vulnerable in our communities. It comes after our health care by cutting Medicaid. It comes after people who are vulnerable and lack access to food by cutting SNAP benefits. And as the senator from the most rural district in the state, I know that that federal action disproportionately impacts the most rural places in our state. And what I hear time and time again when I visit with constituents, when I'm door knocking in my communities, when I'm hosting town halls all across greater Minnesota, I hear folks talk about the increasing costs that they are facing. And while some of those costs may be out of our hands, a lot of them are the direct result of the decisions being made at the federal level. And so what this package does specifically is it's our effort to address the cruel cuts that are coming from the federal level and helping provide relief for Minnesotans. And some of the things that I'm most proud of in the bill is specifically the $100.8 million that we are providing in direct property tax refunds for Minnesotans. Almost 80% of Minnesotans would benefit from this tax relief. The deadline is in August, and if we're able to get this bill into law, it will provide direct relief of approximately $171 per resident in Minnesota in direct property tax relief back in their pockets. While this may seem like just one thing that we can do for rising costs, we know that the federal actions are directly impacting local government's ability to operate, and those costs are being passed down to property owners. So this is our response saying we can provide a little bit of relief to property owners and help them get by. This is on top of what we did in the 2023 bill, where we also passed a property tax refund directly to Minnesotans. We directed historic amounts in local government aid and county program aid to communities to help reduce property taxes. We provided homeless aid, which we're getting rid of the sunset in this bill, which helps ensure that property taxes don't rise on communities, helping address homelessness. And we provided payment in lieu of taxes in communities like mine with a lot of public lands to help reduce those costs on property owners. So we have done a heck of a lot to address costs on Minnesotans, and this is just another way that we can do that. A couple of the provisions under the property tax area is we are increasing the market value exclusion for disabled veterans for the first time since 2008. I can't tell you the number of veterans that I have talked to in my communities who are begging us to increase that exemption because they're worried that they're going to be kicked out of their home. And I don't think us on the Senate Tax Committee want it to be on our watch that disabled veterans are not able to afford their home. So we're increasing that exemption so that they can stay in their home and making that a value statement here in the Senate Tax Committee. And with that, I will pass it, I believe, next to Senator Dibble, who will talk a little bit more about the bill.
Thank you so much. I'm very pleased to be able to discuss kind of a variation on a theme here. A couple of elements that are in the bill, and I thank Chair Rest for including those. Senator Hauschild talked about the consequence to our families and their economic stability, their economic viability from the cruel attacks that are being forced on us by this current federal administration. That same effect in terms of instability to our communities and people's lives was felt by the consequence of what some call an enforcement action, others call a military action of Metro Surge in our communities. People are familiar, of course, with the social disorder, the mayhem that was caused by unplanned, uncoordinated activities of federal agents. And our communities had to respond. We're familiar, of course, that people felt fearful and they couldn't leave their homes, and were responding in other bills in other parts of the legislature to those crises that present people's ability to pay rent, et cetera. But there was a particularly onerous consequence to our community public budgets, our city's public budgets, because when we need to provide for public safety and emergency response and basic city operations, local property taxpayers are left holding the bag. So what this bill does is it provides some resources to make and regain some of those funds and some of that funding that was lost to those local units of government from those federal actions. So in so doing, we're supporting our communities, we're protecting our state's fiscal integrity, we're providing a practical and balanced step to help stabilize local budgets so they can continue to provide essential services, particularly those that pertain to public safety and good order. And so I'm pleased a number of cities have stepped forward and said they were negatively impacted by the federal government. and they're seeking the support from the state. In turn, they're going to go to the federal government and ask them to make them whole. But in lieu of that, of course, we have these resources in place, and that'll help support, stabilize, and that has, of course, a very positive consequence for implications on our property taxes. I'm also really excited to talk about a forward-looking investment in Minnesota's economy and climate leadership. Timely, of course, because we're hearing about the spike in aviation fuel as a consequence of the war in Iran. What's important is that we develop a market for what is called sustainable aviation fuel, SAF or SAF. So the provision in this bill provides up to $1.50 per gallon incentive, a credit to achieve a local market, and actually I think it would have a positive benefit for the volatility in sustainable aviation fuel prices, which is something we desperately need right now. It will spur in-state production and like I said, provide cleaner aviation fuel and address our climate challenges. So it would really position Minnesota at the forefront of a rapidly growing global industry. It drives private investment, it creates good paying jobs, builds out the supply chain for low carbon fuels, and delivers meaningful environmental benefits, reducing our life cycle greenhouse gas emissions in that supply chain, and rewards agricultural innovations that were sparked and spurred and inspired by research here in Minnesota at our own University of Minnesota. And with these, what we call forever green crops, these winter hardy crops like camelina and pennycress, which we can plant in the fall, winter's over, harvest in the spring, and then those fields are ready for more traditional kinds of planting that we're familiar with. We have this benefit of rejuvenating the soil, reducing erosion, improving water quality, creating new revenue streams for farmers. So, it's inspired by Don Wise, who sparked the Forever Green Initiative. May his name be of blessed memory. We're going to turn that homegrown innovation into real economic opportunity and durable environmental progress. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to sort of piggyback just briefly on what Senator Dibble was just talking about. Because sustainable aviation fuel is a response to a problem now, but it also anticipates problems in the future. And I think that's a fantastic theme of this bill, something about which I am very proud. And I think Minnesotans should be proud of the leadership of Senator Rest for creating a tax bill that does not just understand and respond to modern day problems, to the realities that every Minnesotan is facing right now, but also anticipates the future. This is a tax bill for now and for tomorrow at the same time. And I'm very grateful, Senator Rest, for your leadership on that front. And we see that in the social media tax that Senator Rest was talking about earlier. This is an innovative way of understanding the reality that we face right now. It's not an idea or a fantasy. This is the real life that we face, and this is a real element of the context in which we exist currently. And so Senator Rest's visionary, I think, interest in helping get those companies that profit for free from the data that we use every day is, I think, an appropriate response to today's challenges, but also anticipates the challenging future that we have before us. Now, those challenges are especially acute when it comes to agriculture. We all know that agriculture is both the economic and cultural heart of Minnesota in a number of different ways. But something I don't think we appreciate enough is that some of the economic challenges that face every Minnesotan faced farmers especially acutely. We're all struggling right now with the chaos and the unserious nature of the federal government. And it's our job as your local legislators to be the grown-ups in the room and to come up with policies that can actually truly help people in the crises that they currently face. One of the initiatives in this bill that I think is well overdue, and I'm very grateful to see, is lifting the cap on the beginning farmer tax credit extension. That's an incredibly important bill that helps build transitions, helps build relationships between parents and children when they pass their farm on to the next generation, helps build relationships within communities when it enables a farmer to encourage a brand new farmer to get into the industry. The lifting of this cap is going to do wonderful things throughout agriculture, throughout every different commodity and every different size farm. So thank you, Senator Rest, for including this provision because it's incredibly important for every farmer in the state of Minnesota, and therefore for all of Minnesota, given farmers' essential nature in our economy and our culture. There are a number of other provisions in here that deal with agriculture, but every single one of them deals with a contemporary crisis, understanding it through a contemporary lens. We had old provisions that had to do with proximity, how close your farm had to be to someone else's farm in order to get certain homestead tax credits. And we've solved that problem by thinking about how people really live their lives today in this bill. So when you add together all of these different provisions about agriculture and all the provisions that my colleagues have already discussed, it becomes very clear that this is a bill that speaks to Minnesotans today, to the challenges that they face right now, but with an eye on the future and how to make things better.
Thank you.
Senator, can you fill us in on what's next for this bill?
Yes. Well, we passed the bill to the floor, and we're now waiting for the leaders to indicate when it's going to be heard on the floor. And we believe we've taken the lead in bringing to the floor a very solid tax bill. What has not happened is similar action by the House. And in other areas as well, it is the Senate that has been leading the House, showing them the way, if you will, and we hope that can happen also through this tax bill. So we're ready to go. Protocols say that a tax bill has to start in the House. What that means, however, just it has to pass the House. A bill has to pass the House first. So the Minnesota Senate is ready to discuss, to debate, and to pass a tax bill. And we invite the Minnesota House, which admittedly perhaps has more of a challenge than we do in the Senate, but we've shown them the way, and we hope that they will act quickly now to looking over our bill. I'd be happy if they took the whole thing, of course, but maybe they have some other provisions that they're going to like as well. But we're ready. We're ready, and we are, we hope it's not going to be a fight, but we're ready to move forward in this 21st century with modern tax policy, and we hope that the House will join us.
Any final thoughts? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.